and it is nice. I hope people continue to be supportive of different things like that, though. The person who wasn't, I'm sure, isn't watching this anymore. But
it doesn't matter. Like, we are different people. I get that we're gonna have different opinions, and the thing is how you say it and how
exactly.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what we talked about earlier is, you live your life, I'll live mine. And, hey, why do we need to jab at each other over something that really isn't that important?
Yeah,
so.
the main thing is to be respectful and
yeah,
let the other person be.
And that's why I don't do other social media, because most people can't seem to do that. They always have to be negative towards something, and at times it seems like they're going to be negative just to be negative, and there's no real and FoodTribe does not seem to do that.
But the thing is, you cannot please everyone. I'm still struggling with this one, and I post a recipe and I'm really excited about it. I'm very happy. It's a really nice recipe, but it doesn't do very well. And I'm like, why? And then I post something that I'm not very happy with it. I'm not 100% there, and people really like it. So you cannot be a crowd pleaser every time, because all of us like different things, and you don't know what, and you shouldn't actually want to please everyone at the end of the day. So
no. And I think if you jump into something like FoodTribe in that kind of mindset, your life's going to be harder. It really is, because I done that for the longest time. I wanted to, everything I do to be liked and stuff. And I mean, to a degree, I still do. You want to do good. You don't want to do it just for, that's why you put the extra energy into it. And as we had a talk a long time ago, the setups, and you don't ever eat hot food, because why? By the time you get done photographing it, plating it, rearranging it, find the right lighting for it, it's cold. It's just, and you put that energy into it because you want it to be better. You want to do well at it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, you have to post and you have to do the things that you want. There's things that, I do because I have learned that I like the interaction of people. I like the comment sections a lot. I love getting people's ideas, hearing their stories on different things and stuff like that. And my attitude from the time I started to now is completely different. It's now I do what I want to do. And before I was always trying to do what I thought people wanted to see, or what I thought they liked. And now it's just, I'm going to do me, and that's all that matters.
At the end of the day, you eat the food as well, so you might as well enjoy it, right? You put all this effort, and why just for likes? And
yeah, and that's why I'm not eating crickets. I'm not doing it, John Coleman. Anyway, but yeah, you got to do you at the end of the day, and that's it. And just be happy with it. Now, I don't mind trying to things. Obviously, the mustard watermelon and some of the other weird things, I'll do it, but it's because I want to do it, not, and I still have a competitive side. There's as anybody who's paid attention for any amount of time, me and Jane Fife have quite the competition going on with each other. So there's still that, but at the same time, I do me. If it works, it works. I ain't gonna lie. There's been things I've posted and me kind of bombed. I'm like, oh, that sucks. It's just that didn't do as good as I hoped. But you move on. You just, hey, whatever. It don't matter.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you about would sponsorship be the right term?
What do you mean?
Was it the food company you're with? Or am I completely wrong? Wasn't you, because you had a discount code and stuff for...
Yes, there is a company, it's called Do Nature Foods. They have, they make spices, different kind of spices. They're based in Australia, and I have a discount code. Yes, it's 10%.
Okay, if you don't mind, can I ask,
Yes,
how'd you go about that?
what do you mean? How this came?
Yeah,
Like
how it came to
how?
be.
Yes, so I have an Instagram account, food account, the same as, yeah, I'm sharing everything there. And they approached me. Yeah, they approached me and they basically sent me some samples to
Mhm.
try. And they said, if you're happy with the products, you can maybe post about them. So I tried them and yes, I like them. So I started posting about them and then they offered me a discount code
Okay.
to offer to my followers. And yeah,
Oh, that's
this,
cool. That's nice. I am mixed on it. There's a company, well, be honest, Black Rifle Coffee. I would love to do that with them. But I also am worried because when you see sponsored stuff, well, at least I'm this way. The moment you see anything that has sponsored by, you know they ain't gonna say anything bad about it. You just know there's nothing bad coming, and it's always glorious write-ups because if they don't, they lose the sponsorship, and then it's just that kind of road.
yeah. With me, it's like I never had moringa before. This was they sent me moringa and ginger, which okay, ginger we know, and another one. Can't remember what is it. Anyway, so the strange for me it was the moringa one. So I was trying to use it to see how can I use it and all this, but with me but whatever I cook, I eat it. So if I don't like something, I'm not gonna post about it. Like
Okay.
I made something with moringa. Oh yes, the moringa porridge. So my husband doesn't like porridge, and
Oh,
I have this recipe with moringa. I made this recipe especially to use this powder because I didn't know how to use it in the beginning. I was like, okay, I'm gonna put it in my porridge and see how it is. So it's his favorite porridge to eat. So if I make this, he's happy. He likes it. And I was posting about it, and I made the moringa latte. And when I actually made the latte, I didn't know if it's gonna taste nice. So I filmed it and everything. I gave it to my husband, and I was like, "Do you like it?" He was like, "Yes. What is it? What am I having?" And he actually liked it. So yes,
oh,
someone was commenting on the moringa, and she was like, "Oh, I don't like moringa. I find it like too strong and all this." And I was like, I told her that basically the quantity matters because you don't put a lot, obviously, but also the brand as well. So I don't know what she tried, but yes, the one that I tried, I like it, and I wouldn't post about something that I don't like.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So the tricky
Well,
part with this, in my side, is that I'm trying to come up with recipes to use it, and I find it very hard because this is not how I develop recipes, how I cook. I
okay.
cook, yeah, with other things like yeah, I don't cook based on a powder. So this is the hardest part for me.
Okay. Well, that could kind of lead into one of the other questions people was wanting to hear answers to is there a recipe meal that intimidates you?
Um, so there are, I don't know if you heard of seitan before.
Satan.
So yes, so it's basically fake meat that is made with wheat flour, I think. And
Okay.
yes, so it's something that I want to try, but I've never tried before. And
Hmm.
it's a long process, so this is what is keeping me away from it. Plus, I don't find this flour in my grocery store. I need to order it online, so that's another thing. Um, yeah, so this is one thing that I haven't tried, and I think yeah, I'm a bit scared of it. I don't want to put all this effort and then it comes out and it's not something that you can try in the process. You have to cook it and then eat it at the end to see. So this is
Right.
something that I haven't. And also desserts like, really difficult. It's anyway difficult to bake because you have to be
Hmm.
exact with the measures and everything. Like the worst part for me in all this process of cooking and writing recipes and filming is writing down a recipe. Like I hate it. This was my first challenge.
Hmm.
Now obviously I'm over it, but I like cooking with throwing things inside, tasting, and you cannot do this with desserts, obviously. You have to be precise with desserts,
Yep.
and you have to be very lucky if they work from the same time without measuring, or you have to have it. I don't have it with like this. I have to, like for my banana bread, I made 5 or 6 attempts to actually get the recipe that I'm using now. So that's why I'm not baking very often. I'm more of a savory, because while you cook you can taste things, and I know how much salt to put, but in desserts it's different. So also desserts is a little bit harder for me.
Right. I am not a baker either, and it's for the same reasons. I don't measure anything as a rule. I go to taste. I am the type, I'm almost full by the time I get whatever it is cooked, because I'm constantly tasting it. Or by the time I get it about right, I'm like, well, I've done ate it all now, It's because you're always, I cook off that method a lot. And I'm glad my wife is a baker, because otherwise I'd never have baked goods at all. When I done the brioche buns that Alex R done with his recipe, and not only, I can follow a recipe, that's fine. But the thing is it was done in all grams. It's all done in measurements of weight, not, here we have like cups and teaspoons and tablespoons, and this was all done in weight. And it was like, oh no, and you can't convert a weight measurement to a different thing. It has to just be weight. So I actually had to go buy digital scales.
I have a digital one that has everything.
Yes, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is so different for me. Not only am I not used to it, and like you said, if you are off just a little bit, it changes everything.
Yes.
And I realized how, I don't want to say strenuous, because that's a bit over exaggerated term, but it is something that you pay attention so much more. And I realize that I'm not that kind of cook. I'm not. I just wing it. Just swing it. We'll make it work.
Yeah.
And I get that from my mom. My mom is that kind of cook. She was the type that she just grabbed stuff and she'd be talking to you. She never measured nothing. It just went in and it worked, and it just worked. So
it's the same with my mom and my grandma. Like I call them to ask, how do you make this? And she's like, you do this, you do that, and I'm like, okay, how much of it? And she's like, just look with your eyes, like.
Yeah, and then they have these weird terms for measurements. You're like, what's that? And then you get my poor grandma. She would try to give you a recipe for something, but she was notorious for leaving out little things, just so you could never make it exactly like she did. So you get this recipe, and she'd be like, oh, here it is. I wrote it down for you. And you'd be like, okay. And then when you made it, it's like, this ain't it.
Maybe that's what my grandma does as well. That's
and, she was notorious because she never wanted somebody to make it exactly like her, because then they wouldn't have her make it anymore. So so she was notorious for that one. Okay, well, we'll jump into a few of these other questions real quick, since we've kind of already hit a few of them. What's your guilty pleasure food?
I like burgers, so I would eat a Beyond Burger with the fries, and I really like donuts as well. There is a brand here in Berlin, Bramibal Donuts. They are amazing. They are amazing. Like, yes, they're so good. They're so good. I'm so happy that. So yes, I found them. So yes, this will be my guilty pleasure, I think. Yeah.
See, we're more alike than we think.
You like donuts as well, yes.
Oh, I do. I love donuts and burgers, of course. That is, that's life to me.
We can be friends now. We can officially be friends.
I could gladly eat a burger for dinner and have a donut for dessert. I would be perfectly happy with that.
So this is what we're doing when we meet. Only there's going to be vegan.
That would be so funny. It is, like I said, this is what makes this fun, is you get this connection with different people that maybe you normally wouldn't get. And hey, maybe, other people out there be like, hey, I'm just like them too, so it's fun. I'm assuming, I'm going to take a guess. Your John Coleman needs to know what your favorite cheese is. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess, is it halloumi?
Halloumi.
Halloumi. Okay.
Yes, halloumi and feta. Halloumi and feta.
Ooh,
Have you ever
is
had feta?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I love feta. In fact, well, there's a few, I can do it with any cheese really, but when I get feta or whatever, my wife buys it, I catch myself often just eating it, just sitting there. It's like, this stuff's dangerous. You got to put it back in there.
Yeah, so good.
Feta, blue cheese, and Parmesan are my tops. Parmesan gets me in more trouble than any of them because to me, I love it. Just walk around with a wedge of it, just chewing on it. Oh, you need to stop doing that.
Yeah, dangerous.
Yes, yeah, I love. That's the other thing. I love cheese, and I gotta learn to do that in moderation as well because we all know what cheese does. Yeah. What's your favorite food?
I like burgers, but if I would have like one meal, it would be something with tofu, sweet potatoes, and peanut butter. Maybe this food that you want to try with chicken. So this one, but with tofu as well.
Okay.
And rice. I love rice.
I do like rice. I do. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, of course, the peanut butter thing we all know as well. I have a thing for that. What's your worst cooking injury? Been hurt by?
Oh, I always burn my hands like all the time. I'm in the kitchen. I'm like, and my husband was like, what happened again? And I burn my hands all the time. It's like either I don't I don't calculate how much long I'm holding the tray, which is hot, and after some time, either I don't have enough space, and I'm like, yes. So burning. I never cut myself, thankfully. So it's just burning, a lot of burns.
Yeah, but burns could be as bad as cuts. I mean,
Yes.
I've had really bad burns in my days.
Especially in the middle of cooking, that's the worst. Like you have to continue with the toothpaste in your hands. Like how?
Oh, I've never done the toothpaste thing.
Toothpaste or butter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I've never done that one. I was always told if you burn yourself really bad, to actually stay away from things that have oils or fats in it. So,
really?
Yeah. So I always toothpaste was completely different. When you said that, I was like, why do you have toothpaste in your hand? But, learn something new today. I'll have to remember that. I've had a few really bad burns. In fact, the podcast that I'm putting up this weekend, either tonight or tomorrow, whichever day I'm not feeling so lazy. I'll try to get it up. I explain it. We're discussing the same question. I've had some really bad burns. I've cut myself. I ain't gonna lie, I have. But probably by far the worst one was the burns. I've of course, I always heard aloe. Aloe is good for it, stuff like that. So I always try to do that. So burning is bad. I've had both cuts and burns, and I tell you, I don't want either one of them. Yeah. We know how you found FoodTribe, so that works out. Foodlana, our famous food burglar of FoodTribe, wants to know what your favorite pastry is.
Savory or sweet?
Okay, both. Let's do both.
Savory, I really like spanakopita. Do you know what is it? Spanakopita is spinach pie, basically. It's made with filo, which is really thin pastry. Mm-hmm. Filo actually means leaf. That's why it's so thin. That's why it's called filo.
Okay.
Yeah, I like spanakopita. I really like spanakopita. And sweet, I really like. I don't know how you call them in English. Oh yeah, this sweet desserts, really sweet, that like baklava and all these kind of sweets. That they have
Okay.
also they have nuts and they have syrup.
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Mine, as long as it ain't chocolate, I'm willing to give it a shot. That's my biggest thing. Um, Inspiration. What gives you the most, inspiration for recipes and trying new things?
Yeah, it's weird. Like I can see different things and get inspired. Like I like watching cooking shows a lot. Even not specifically vegan. Actually, there aren't any vegan cooking shows. Yeah, I don't think there are any. But yes, I like watching cooking shows and see what people cook and get inspired by that. I might see an ingredient and get inspired.
Hmm.
Um, I might eat something and see, oh yes, food memories as well.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So a lot
depends.
of a lot of different things. Okay. It is funny though. Oh, it was last week or so. There was a debate on FoodTribe going that, is it better to read the cookbooks, good old fashioned, paper books, or the people who go online and find their recipes and their things. And there was a diehard small group of people who said no, stick to your books, and read the recipes, and they were all for, and you don't go to the internet for things. And I thought, well, why can't you do both?
Yeah.
We have a huge recipe book collection, and then um, I ain't gonna lie, a lot of mine's imagination. Just I sit and I think, wait a minute, what if I do this and that? Wonder how that would work out, and the next thing you know, there I am. Things just happen that way. I am a big internet person though. FoodTribe, I'll see something and it's like, hey, I could do that. Or YouTube is another one for me. I poke around on there because, well, we don't bother with like mainstream TV at all. We stick to other things. And I got a few shows there I love to watch. And maybe they'll fix something and I'm like, well, I don't exactly like the way you done it, but if I done it this way and I changed
Yes.
these ingredients, or maybe I do this differently, and then next thing you know, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. I
So,
actually have lots of cooking books, but I never do recipes from them. I might do desserts sometimes because you have to
mhm.
follow recipes, but I just like to scroll and like see pictures, and if something catch my eye, I'm gonna look a bit better. But yeah, I have so many books. I like to buy them, but I'm feeling guilty that I'm not using them. I like watching videos though. Yeah.
Yeah, I,
I'm
I
more of
think the
a
videos,
visual person.
yeah, that's me, and I'm glad I'm not the only one that just looks at recipe books for the pictures. I do that a lot. Just sit and flip through, and if something looks really great, I'm like you said, might read more detail, but usually I just kind of flip through. I think the watching videos is just easier.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah. Well, it
the
depends
only
also of the person. Some people like to read, so I guess it depends. Yeah.
yeah. And also, it just depends on, I know for me, the person doing the video, if I can't kind of relate to them, or somehow find them entertaining or something, then I just don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care what
Yeah,
they
yeah,
think.
yeah. Like once someone said to me in the beginning, before I started recording, they commented and they said that they like that I'm not in the video and I'm not talking as well. I was like, and I was thinking that my videos lack because I'm not in the video and I'm not talking either. But I realized that there are actually YouTubers that succeed by just doing this, just showing
Hmm.
the cookery and not being there and talking and doing the whole thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's just another type as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, I actually have enjoyed the videos more, with you talking in them and telling what there is, because a lot of times, I might watch your video, let's say, and I might be doing dishes or laundry or something, and I can't stand right in front of the TV,
Yes.
read the ingredients. So, just like the podcast, it's made to be listened to, and not, you don't just sit on the couch and watch it. I guess you could, but it's made to be listened
Yeah.
to. And so with your videos now that you are talking in them, I can listen to it while I don't have to be staring right at the TV to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoy that because, I don't always have the time just to sit and watch,
Yeah.
but maybe I have the time to listen to it. And well, okay, I'm gonna be 100% honest too. I love your accent, and in your
Oh, thank you.
you have such a nice accent, and you have such a calming voice in your videos.
Oh,
And
it's so hard.
well, trust me, I get that, and I'm like, she is so calm. I sound like a babbling idiot at times because I get nervous over things, and I'm like, oh, calm down. And to listen to you, you're so calm and just really easy to listen to. And so I would rather listen to you do it than listen to the music over everything and then trying to read it. So just
okay, I'm glad to hear that.
yeah. Well, and for people who don't know out there, when I first asked you, which was a while ago, if you would be interested in joining me in this nonsense, I didn't even know if you spoke English.
Oh,
And
yes, I found this question very weird. I was like, what is... I was like, what is he asking me now? But
well,
yes, then you mentioned Sarah, and everything kind of made sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought, well, I've never heard you talk, so
I'm just the person there commenting, and you don't know
yeah.
who's behind. Yes, exactly. Yeah. I could be
And
translating everything. Yeah.
well, and there are so many people that do that. It's, they take it in, use Google Translate or whatever they use, and they flip it, and then they can do it, and then well, as you brought up Zara, she does that a lot, and then she'll translate it over to her language or vice versa, and that's how she does a lot of things. And it's like you wouldn't know it, now, yeah, and you wouldn't know that I have met several people who don't speak English, but they can write and type, because there's so many aids out there now to help translate things over and help them with it. So I didn't know. I thought, well, I'd hate to ask you to, come on and discuss things with me, and you'd be like, I don't speak English. Because that's what I'm doing with Zara right now. Is I would love to have her on. I love her story, her whole little journey through everything, and how she does things. But she really don't know English. And she said, you probably aren't going to be able to understand what I'm trying to say. And I thought, yeah, but I read everything just fine, and then that's, and then, like I said, it's great. So I didn't know. And then when she wrote back, Nat wrote me back after I asked her if she speaks English, and she says, well, of course I do. And I thought, I've never heard it. And then when you done the first video with you speaking in it, I thought, oh yeah, she speaks really good English. Okay. Now I see why she's like, well, yeah, I do. Oh no.
But, yes.
And I always have that fear, especially when I get somebody from, a different country. I don't know, and I don't want to make things awkward for anybody. Well, I don't know when this video is going up, y'all. So remember, order, you don't know. I'm recording tomorrow with Robin Ho, and I'm like, okay, I know he knows English because he lived in Canada, but how good is it? And then he's been in Germany for so long, and then he's been around the way I think he's traveled quite a bit too. So I'm curious to see how that's going to go. And I was shocked with Ramon. I got on and I thought, okay, this could be fun. Luckily, we wasn't recording. We was just literally, doing a friendship kind of call, just talking to be friends. And he spoke amazing English. And I'm like, wow, okay. So you never know, And then I have come across the other people, their English is not so good. It's very broken. And luckily I've been around a lot of people who spoke broken English is what we call it. So I'm pretty good at understanding it. And occasionally I do come across people who are, yep, I have no idea what you're saying, So I was concerned. I was. And dare I say, because when I was in high school, I had about 11th, 12th grade, I had an algebra and trigonometry and calculus teacher that was Greek.
Oh,
And I had no idea what he was saying most of the time. And he was the he was the nicest guy in the world. His name was oh gosh, Mr. Statrulus or something like that. Statrulus?
okay.
Anyway, he was a super nice guy, but that accent was so thick. And then he's throwing calculus terms at you, and you're like, can you write that down? It's like, please.
This was me when I moved to the UK. And I started working, and the guy who's supposed to train me was a Scottish guy. I was like,
oh no.
my God. It was really hard. I was stressing out. It was so hard. And I had to speak with a Scottish company on the phone, and I had to get numbers over the phone. And I was like, I was calling them, and I was talking, and I was like writing down, and then I hung up, and I was like, I'm not sure if this is correct. I'm not sure. And then I was calling again to try and speak to another person and get the number to make sure it's correct. Yeah, my life was hard at the beginning, but then yes, you catch it slowly. Yeah.
Yeah, I had been around a lot of Asians, Japanese, Chinese. I mean, all kinds of Asians. So I got used to that kind of accent, broken English. Even worked in a Chinese restaurant for a while, Chinese Thai restaurant for a little while. Got used to that. But yeah, I'll never forget my teacher, and I thought day one, when first time I was ever in his class, the first thought I thought was, I'm going to fail terribly, and it's because I don't have a clue what he's saying. I just don't have a clue.
Yeah.
And, and he tried so hard because he realized his accent was tough to get. And he tried so hard. He was such a nice guy, and I actually passed his class rather well.
Very well.
I needed a lot of help with it though. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, dude, you got to write some of this down. Let me read it. But yeah, that was so. Little backstory behind the scenes. A lot of y'all, there was that communication between me and Nat where I didn't know if she spoke English. And, she speaks really good English, actually. Because I am always worried about that. I'm like, I'm gonna have somebody on here, and I'm gonna be like, I have no idea what you're saying. So I am always worried about that. I know Zara always wants me to ask everybody. You've been on FoodTribe a while now. What do you think of it? I mean, compared to other social medias coming from like Instagram and stuff like that.
I like it. It can feel very like personal. It can feel like it's more family. Whereas Instagram is a bigger platform, it's more generic. Whereas here it feels more familiar. Yeah, it's a nice environment.
It is. I always compare it to like a family. We are like a little group of a community or something, and it's just very different. I don't spend a lot. Well, I'm not on any other social media, but what ones I was on momentarily is very, very different. It's stuff like Facebook and these other social medias are a bit cutthroat in a way. It's, people are so much more aggressive, I guess would be a term, on things. And there's so many people who they'll say something just to be different, or just to cause a fight or whatever.
Yeah.
And we don't have that there. That just don't happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know on the bigger brother DriveTribe, occasionally that has a tendency to happen. And it has a tendency to get ugly. And I think, oh, please don't let us ever turn into that. Please.
Hopefully not.
Yes. So it is a much nicer place to be. So,
but I guess like if everyone is nice and then you get one person that is not, but then everyone treat them nice, they cannot continue being, mean. Eventually either they will leave or they will change their mentality as well. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion, at least. So yeah.
Well, going back to the you being number one on the top 5 burgers and that little wave in the pond, even when something bad like that does kind of get said or happen, the people of FoodTribe deal with it very well. They can do it in a very pleasant way. Some get a little more aggressive than others, but nobody ever really crosses any bad lines. But they are very quick to let people know that's not right. We won't tolerate that. And
Yeah.
It's neat to see FoodTribe kind of police itself, I guess you could say at times. People will jump in like, "Oh, you can't put that here. That's inappropriate," or there's no need to act like that or say something like that. And it's nice as opposed to feeling like that if somebody does come after you or attack you, that you're just kind of left there to deal with it.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely more supportive than other platforms out there.
Yeah. And there again, I don't know when this is going up. The name a dish challenge that John Coleman has out right now, that is really cool.
Oh.
And I do want to bring up the smoothie thing real fast.
Yes. So I was listening to your podcast with the second one with John and Jane, and like you were asking him all this question about if he would have a smoothie with his favorite ingredient. I was like, what can I was actually thinking like the tofu idea came into my head at that moment, and it was funny because all of you three don't really like tofu.
No.
And exactly, but when I thought about it, I was thinking of the actual tofu, not the firm tofu, and I was actually wondering how the texture is gonna be. I wasn't sure, but then while of thinking how to make it, it came into my mind that I can use silken tofu, which is actually like it's silken, it's really smooth. So I was like, okay, this is gonna work. I'm sure it's gonna work because at least I didn't have the texture problem anymore. So yes, I tried. I was a bit scared, and the kiwi I used was overripe. So it was full of kiwi taste, which was a bit strong. But yes, it was okay. It wasn't. I wasn't gonna have it. I'm not gonna have it. I think if I have it again, I'm gonna use more mango. I think I use either mango or pineapple. I can't remember which of those I used, but I would use more of the other fruit because I could only taste the kiwi, and I didn't enjoy that a lot. But in regards to the tofu, it actually worked.
Well, there again, you don't know until you try it. And when, of course, I had no thoughts of anything like that until I seen your post, and I was like, what? And then it hit me. I was like, I love the irony of that. You took something that none of us like, and then made something in tribute to us that
I couldn't.
But it was perfect in all reality.
Make it because you actually gave me the idea while I was listening to you. So you see, this is something else. Like you asked me before how I get inspired. So this came out of just a conversation of listening you and the other guys. So yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed this podcast could inspire anything, but okay. Hey, cool. It makes me happy. But yeah, when I seen that post and I was like, hey man, I bet. Well, I thought, why? That was my first thing, is why? And then I thought, well, if anybody could pull it off, it's you. I'm sorry. No offense to anybody else, but, I've watched what you've done with things, and I thought, you know what? There again, if I was around you and you made that, I'd probably try it. It was just one of those, and I know I don't like it, but first of all, that's in a little different form. It's not something you're going to have to chew, or you're drinking it, so that would probably be. Tofu does take on the flavor of things really well, and since I won't have to deal with the texture part, I thought, you know what, that might actually, so you actually had me sitting there going, I don't like tofu, but, it was one of those, and then I just got lost in the irony of the whole thing. I was like, she was inspired by 3 people who don't like tofu to make a smoothie from tofu.
You're talking about meat, like it was, yeah.
And then I got to laughing. I was literally laughing out loud, looking at my phone, and I thought, people think I'm crazy, and I'm just sitting here laughing. I'm like, that's perfect. That is just the just ironically perfect thing there could have been. So yeah, and I guess that goes back to, like we said, the friendly nature of FoodTribe, the community kind of thing. If somebody could do something like that, you just look at it and go, yep, yep, that's what I would expect. Yep, and make something like that. The tributes that have been coming through to different people has been fantastic. It's just cool to see. I just wish more people really would have jumped in on it, though. But yeah, it was really fun. I love that tight group.
Yeah.
So, well, is there anything else you want to talk about or bring up or anything?
No, I think we covered. I have a blog for anyone who doesn't know,
Yes.
and I'm sharing my recipes there. It's called Natalicious Food. Yeah.
I was gonna say, anything you want to promote, websites, anything.
Yes, I have a YouTube channel which is called again Natalicious Food. I'm trying to post recipes every week, and yes, in the blog.
And I can admit that the channel is really nice. I mean, I'm carnivore and I watch your recipes and go, those look really good. So
thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Like, you might see something and it inspires you to, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do want to ask you before we end this off. I'm sorry, I should have threw this somewhere in the part. What kind of photography equipment, video equipment do you use?
I have a Canon here, which is EOS 4000D.
EOS 4000D. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I use my phone as well, which is iPhone 11. Like, sometimes if I want to use film 2 angles at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I use my phone, and I have tripods. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you haven't.
Go on.
So have you done the whole photo box with the lights, and have you went that route yet?
No. I don't have any lights, so that's a problem sometimes, because if I'm filming in the kitchen, if I take pictures in the kitchen, they are completely different than if I bring them to the table in front of the window and I use daylight. So yeah. I don't have any lighting. The next thing I think I'm going to invest on is going to be lighting.
Okay. Because I was curious, because, as I've said, your photos are amazing. You do great photo work, and kind of jealous. I wish I could do it. I know if I just take the time to practice more and play with settings and stuff on it would probably help me. Eventually, I am going to have to move up to a camera and just stop using my phone all the time. But I was curious to see, because I have seen everything from people just, being like me, using their phone. There's a person on FoodTribe who posts occasionally, and I've seen a few people on even YouTube, how they photograph theirs, and they got the box with all the lights, and they can move them around. And they got these huge matte lights, which I found really interesting. They're like canvas. You can roll them up, but they're a light, and that allows you to bend it and stuff. And I have seen all kinds. You can spend a fortune in photography stuff and get lost and be homeless very quickly, but you'll have a lot of photography stuff. Yeah, just saying it, because I was going to try to upgrade. One of the best upgrades I actually made was just upping the wattage of the light bulbs in the room, get a better light. And I went from 100-watt light bulbs to 200-watt light bulbs, going to daylight light bulbs, and just little things. And it was like, wow, this makes a huge difference. So I was curious as to what your setup was, how you done it. And
I have some, I think they're called backdrops.
Backdrops.
Yeah, I have 2 of those, which I bought really cheap last year, and I still have them and I'm using them. It was a good investment, although if I could buy some more to get different colors and everything. So maybe the next thing I buy is going to be this. But so if I take pictures in the kitchen and I have the light on, the regular light on, and I'm using the backdrops, it creates shades. So I have to ask my husband to come on top of the light and use the other backdrop and cover the light. And he's getting mad, obviously, because he's hungry as well, and he's like, okay, we need to do the photo shoot to it. So yeah, it's so I'm trying not to use his help if it's possible, because yes, obviously he's not patient, he doesn't care, and he needs to eat as well. Or sometimes I might serve him and then arrange everything, and then he's with full stomach, then he's happy to help me. So yes, that's another thing I do.
That's something I have pondered is the backdrops, and you can buy the vinyls. It's almost like a real heavy vinyl that'll change, like you put under, like for tabletop surfaces, you can get like wood and all this, but it's made out of vinyl. I thought about investing in a few of those just so I could change things up pretty simply anyway. Backdrops I probably should do, because especially most of my stuff anymore is just behind a white wall. And it's like, that's getting old already. Okay, I need to, start. And that's the things there again, as we talked about earlier, is you're always trying to change, make better, improve without going bankrupt in doing so.
Yeah.
So I might have to. Where do you have a place where you get your backdrops, or you just like on Amazon or?
No, I got them on Amazon. I can find what I bought and send it to you if you want, so that you see the brand. But it was like a cheap one, not anything expensive. I think both of them were under less than €30, maybe 20. I can't remember.
Okay.
But yes, they're fine, and you can, if you spill something on them, you can clean them, and they're good. For the money that I paid anyway, yes.
That's what I would need, is something that is easily cleanable, because, well, when you're staging food, accidents happen.
Yes, of course.
So, and I do understand the spouse business. Well, yeah, when you're thinking, okay, we'll eat when I get this done, and it's like, or something. It's like, go ahead, just go ahead and eat. It's fine. I'll be a minute, and half hour later, you're still trying to do things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's always fun. And then if you're with family or friends or something, and it's a big event, you think, I really want pictures of this. Should I?
Especially if we've done so much effort to create all this food, and you're like, you made a big nice table, and yes.
And then you're trying to explain to people, well, wait a minute. Or you take your plate and your stuff and you go hide in a little corner where you think, I could set this up over here. And then everybody's in there eating and going, aren't you going to join us? Yeah, in a minute.
Yes. If you look at my account, like, these are my worst pictures because I'm in a rush. I'm like, okay, I took it, and I don't even look how it looks, or if it's a good angle or anything, nothing. You just take a picture. This was the food. Bye.
Yeah. And if you're like me, you take pictures all the time. And then, even if it's one thing, you'll take 2 dozen pictures, erase all of them, and go, I'll have to just make it again. It's just because I don't like any of them. I've done that one. There's so much stuff that a lot of people never see, just because I've made something. I've done sit here and for half hour, 45 minutes, tried to photograph it, move things around, stack it, depending on whatever it is, trying to get it just right. 20 some pictures later, and you delete everything going, it wasn't worth it.
It's just some foods that don't work. They're not really photographic, or I don't know. For me as well, it's the mood as well. Like, if I'm not in the mood of doing something, it's not going to work. It's the same with cooking as well. If I'm not in the mood of cooking, the food is not going to taste good.
Right.
So,
even the writing is that way. Anybody knows me, all my art, everything I write is probably way too long-winded. I can't do anything in short, there's so many times I got the pictures, I know what I want to write about, and I'll sit there and go, nope. You're in that mode of, well, me and Ramon was talking about this the other day. It wasn't a podcast, we was just talking, that I just can't be bothered. For whatever reason, my mind isn't in it. And, whether it's taking the photos or, hey, I have to get this made for a post, and I just don't feel it. ain't there, or writing it, the photos, if any of those parts, your mind's not into it,
Yeah.
it don't work. It just fails. Because I have done that more than once, where I have to get this done. So I do it because I feel I have to get it done. And then at the end, I don't like it. I'm not happy with it. It don't do well. Well, I'm one of those people. There's a few people I know who write stuff in advance and they keep it, and then I can't do that. I can't. Every time I post something, I'm literally going through my photos. And then when I see that photo and it clicks, and it's like, yeah, and it all comes that. And then there's times I'll go through all my photos and I'm like, I can't. I just can't be. Or I go through I'm sure you probably do too. You have a notebook of things you want to do.
Oh, yes. I have to-do list. Okay. I can, because yeah, it is. I'm also posting in lots of in lots of places anyway. So I'm going crazy to try and remember what I have to do. First, I'm just keeping to-do lists. And for me to make a video, it's not just a video, it's a recipe. I need to film it. I need to basically, if I have the recipe already, it's as simple as getting the ingredients, weight them, and then cook it and film it. And then is also edit the video, because I'm not just putting it out there. I have to find music. Now that I'm recording my voice, I have to record, which is for me now the most struggle. And then I have to upload it. I have to prepare a post, and it's a different post for FoodTribe. It's a different post for Instagram. It's a different post for YouTube. And yes, so and it's also the hashtags, and yeah, it's just. Yeah, I have a schedule actually, because yes, otherwise I'm stressing out with what I have to do and when I have to do it.
Yeah. Well, there again, me and Ramon was talking. He's doing some work for me, and we was just talking, and I told him that I said I started out, doing FoodTribe, and to keep up with FoodTribe, and see, I'm the one, I have for FoodTribe anyway, all my notifications are on. So every like, every comment, everything comes through.
I don't know how.
And well,
like your phone is sending constantly ding 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 ding.
It does. You don't know. And I love it. I do. Like I said, I love the interaction. I love talking to people. I'm that kind of person. And then I'm trying to become more on DriveTribe as well. I originally started out wanting to, do DriveTribe more. And I had, as y'all know, I had no interest in FoodTribe. I wanted to do it. Well, I got hooked on FoodTribe instead. And for the last week or so, I've been doing both pretty heavily. I'm trying to keep my daily post going, which I haven't done as well. I've been skipping more days here and there, because you post for FoodTribe, and then I got to write something completely different for DriveTribe, and then I have to edit the videos for YouTube, and then and then make them just like here. This is the easy part. Sitting here talking to somebody like you is the easy part. Your nerves are a little rattled because, you realize what you're doing. But, in all reality, it's the easy part. It's when this is done, you got to go through the downloading, then you got to trim the video. Then you got to decide. Now, most all these podcasts, y'all, they're straight through. I don't cut out anything, even if John Coleman asked me to. I don't. Anyway, it gets played. It's just how it is. But at the ends, you still have to cut different things. And like you said, if there's music, you got to decide if you want to do that. You have the title cards, your end cards, and a lot of this I still don't even know how to do. And then you got the export part and the uploading part, and then that's not counting writing your descriptions, your taglines, as you said. And then as I'll do for you, as I've done for everybody, I got to put all my links in. So I'm putting my links for DriveTribe, FoodTribe, YouTube, different things in, and then like for you, I'll link all your stuff in there. And you'll be on your laptop and you'll have like 40 tabs open because you got to go through these different places. And I'm like, there has to be an easier way. And I don't
Yeah.
know it yet. And so you can, and, to get an upload to YouTube can take almost a day just to do it. By the time you cut the video in half in a lot of cases and then edit it, and people don't realize there's a lot of work. And I've had a lot of people say, well, that's more like a job. And it kind of
It
is.
is.
And I hope to maybe make it one in a sort, I guess. Because I do love doing it. I enjoy it so much. That's why, I do it. Don't really get paid for it. So do it because I just like doing it.
Yeah.
And I get to meet some great people like you and some of the others. It's just fun. So, but there is a lot to it that a lot of people don't understand. There are a lot of people out there, like you said, where they whip out their phone, take a picture of their plate, put their phone back in their pocket, and that's all the further it goes.
Yeah.
So it's nice to talk to somebody. I know Jane does it as well. Me and her's gotten into those discussions of the work it is, and just getting that photo, just one photo, and the editing, the writing, and if you're trying to write something that is like, for me, sometimes the hardest things to write are food memories, because you want the feelings that you have to relate through what you're writing and come through to other people. And then, like you said, if you're not in the mood to do that, you'll never get that to happen. Or you think, okay, am I getting it right, or am I just being long-winded? And then there's so much, it just never ends. And
Yeah.
it's something you do because you love it. So, and obviously you do because you do fantastic stuff, obviously. So, okay, I think I've rambled on enough. How about I gotta say, it has been super easy to talk to you.
Thank
That
you.
is
Me too.
another concern I always have is, how
Yeah,
easy is it?
I was nervous myself. I was thinking, I've never done it before, but I was nervous anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. And it has been a real pleasure to get to know you a little more, talk to
You
you and
too.
stuff like that. So, all right, Food Tribe, we're going to cut this one off, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I know I have. It's been a lot of fun. As always, Food Tribe, stay wonderful, and remember, I love y'all. Bye.